What's up YouTube, it's TF Collector, and today I'll be reviewing the Transformers Studio Series 86 Voyager class Constructicon Mixmaster from the 86 movie. And before we take a look at the figure itself, we will of course take a look at the packaging that he comes in. Excuse me. Up front we have Mixmaster in Robot and Alt Mode, Transformers Studio Series, the movie, his name, Hasbro over here. 5 of 5 of Devastator, yay, we have completed 86 Devastator 15 steps. A profile image of Devastator on this side, 5 of 5, Studio Series, the movie. On this side you have the rest of that picture, Autobot logo, Studio Series Voyager class. On the back, a nice screen grab of Devastator from the 86 movie. Mixmaster combines with other Constructicons to form Devastator. There's his name, there's the movie. More product images going on here, looking very nice. 15 steps, 5 of 5. Once again, authentic Hasbro. On the top, the Transformers, the movie, Mixmaster, Takara Tomy, a reflection, and on the bottom, a barcode. And one final thing before we take a look at the master of mixing himself, he does of course include his instruction manual, Studio Series, the movie, Mixmaster. There's a picture of him 8 and up on the back, Takara and Hasbro. And now moving to the figure itself, here is Mixmaster as he appears in the 86 movie and the G1 cartoon, and he is a mixing truck, a cement mixer, whatever you want to call it. But coming in close on the details up front, you have nice purple paint for the windows and windshields, nice little Decepticon logo there with some nice silver on the front. Moving down the side, all the rims done in a nice silver and pinned on, very nice. Nice detailing all throughout. Of course, a lot of green going on. You have the purple mixer going on there, and the other part of it, I don't know what that's called. I don't know my construction vehicles. On the back, not a lot to see there. The other side, pretty much the same. There is your top view. There is your bottom view, and he can, of course, roll as he shall. And as far as accessories go, Mixmaster includes one, and it is, whoa, as I bump him, his blaster here, as you can see, done in a dark gray, almost black plastic, but you can see just a nice little blaster. Not a lot to be said about it, but it can store here in alt mode. You can just plug it into that tab right there. Just plug it in, and there you go. Now you have Mixmaster driving around with his gun on top of him. And now for some quick alt mode comparisons. First here is Mixmaster with 86 leader class Megatron, so you can see how he looks with the leader of the Decepticons. And here he is with the completed set of Studio Series 86 Constructicons. And here in alt mode, I think all of them look really good. Super happy with the way this set has turned out. And last but not least, here in alt mode, here he is with the Combiner Wars Mixmaster from the Titan class Devastator set. So you can see how these two look together. He is, of course, loosely based off this figure, so you can see just how much they changed. And with all that being said, I think Mixmaster's alt mode turned out really good, but let's go ahead and transform him. Now, of course, we are just going to cover the vehicle to robot mode transformation. We will do the combined mode transformation with all of the other Constructicons in a review of Devastator, which will be my next video coming out, so stay tuned for that. But for now, let's go ahead and transform Mixmaster into robot mode. So the first thing we are going to do is we're going to flip underneath here, and we're just going to slightly untab these forearms and bring them forward and get them up and out of the way. You can see they just tab in right here on the side. Now come here and bring these pieces out, bring them downward enough that you can bring these pieces down, and they will tab in on each side, and then these pieces will thoop into place like so, which will form his heels. And now what we can do is come here, and basically this whole entire section is going to extend out. So you just want to rotate this. You can see how that piece comes in there, and there are 2 tabs right there you can see that go into that purple piece there, and just rotate all of this downward and straighten the leg out. Now there are multiple hinges, so you have to make sure you're rotating all the correct hinges, but once you get all that straightened out, that is how that should be looking. And now we can just close up these panels here at the front, make sure these heel spurs stayed up like so, and then we can split the legs, and you can see there are his legs all done. And now we will move to the upper body. So the first thing we want to do is untab this purple piece. We just need to kind of undo it. My arm likes to come off. I'm not sure why. But this purple piece, it can be hard to get your nails in there and kind of get it untabbed. But you do have to do it. There you go. You can see it just tabs into those two pieces right there. And that will allow you to untab his arms and bring them down like so. So just swoop them down into place. And then you can bring his chest panel the rest of the way down. And one last step we want to do is turn to the back here. Untab this piece. Rotate this piece inward. And then close that back up. And there you have MIXMASTER in his robot mode. And seeing this robot mode, I do think MIXMASTER looks pretty darn good, but coming in close on the details, you can see that head sculpt beautiful with the black and the red eyes with the silver mouth plate. On the chest, some nice red and black details. You have your Decepticon logo there, nice molded detailing all throughout. Down the legs, just molded details, if I can speak English. Lots of green going on though, but that is screen accurate. Of the arm, just a bunch of green going on, and backpack wise it is accurate to what we see in the movie, so I'm not going to complain. But overall I think this has turned out pretty well. My only complaint is that I think his forearms are a little disproportional to the upper half of his arm, but other than that I think MIXMASTER looks pretty good here in robot mode. And when it comes to articulation for MIXMASTER, his head is on a ball joint, I believe. He can slightly look up and slightly look down. It can rotate the 360, but I'm just going to kind of demonstrate that it can rotate because this piece can kind of make it tricky to rotate that around. But you can rotate his arms 360. They do move in and out, only that far out though, unless you use this other hinge, in which case you can get them further up like so if you want. Just make sure you don't break anything. But you can rotate at the bicep, even though mine likes to come off, which is very annoying. Luckily, I'm going to have him as Devastator, so won't have to worry about that much. The elbow can bend to 90 degrees. Nothing can go on at the wrist. Nothing can go on at the waist. The legs can kick forward that far. Backward, they can kick that far. Outward, they can get a full split. You do have thigh rotation. 90 degrees of bend at the knee, and you do, yes, get a nice ankle pivot. So overall, pretty good articulation for a Voyager class Studio Series figure. And if we bring back in his accessory, I forgot to mention earlier, it is blast effect compatible if you want to use that. Now, storage-wise, I don't know. It can't plug in here. I don't know. I mean, it can't really plug in down here. It kind of can, maybe. I mean, maybe we can squeeze it in there. It's really close, maybe. No, it's not fitting there. You could totally tab it onto the side of the arm if you wanted, but me personally, I'm just going to have MIXMASTER holding his blaster as he should be. And for some quick robot mode comparisons, first, here is MIXMASTER once again with 86-liter Megatron, who is a big old boy. But you can see how these two look together, and you can see how MIXMASTER looks with his leader. With the Combiner Wars MIXMASTER, and yes, very clearly an upgrade. This is not even... I mean, they got the head sculpt good, but other than that, yeah, no. Clearly an upgrade, clearly the better figure. Definitely go with the new Studio Series here. And here is the group image. Here is your Studio Series Constructicons in robot mode. And overall, I am very pleased with this set. I do think Scavenger and Bone Crusher look a little weird, especially in their legs, and Bone Crusher with his arms. But overall, I do think this is way better than anything else we've ever seen in the main line for a Devastator. So I certainly recommend getting this whole set. And one final comparison here is MIXMASTER with a CG image of how he appeared in the 86 movie, so you can see just how close they got this figure to what they were basing him off of, and I think they did a pretty good job with this guy. Definitely one of the better Constructicons out of this Studio Series set. So this has been my review for the Studio Series 86 Voyager class MIXMASTER from the Transformers the movie, and overall very pleased with the way this guy turned out. I think he is one of the better Constructicons out of this set. Him and Scrapper are probably my two favorites to come out of this Studio Series set that we got of the Constructicons. Definitely think he's worth the money. I think he alone is a good figure in both alt mode and robot mode, but of course you can use him to form Devastator, who we will take a look at in the next review dropping on the channel. Stay tuned for that. that is where your money needs to go. Devastator is worth every penny in my opinion, and you definitely want this guy if you're going to make that combiner. But for this figure himself, robot mode looks good, alt mode looks good, articulation pretty good. Wish it could have wrist rotation. I know that's a lot to ask, but waist rotation definitely would be nice. I feel like we get that on most Studio Series figures now. The accessory, he just comes with a gun, but you know, that's all he needs, so can't complain there. Overall, think he looks really good. Super happy with the way this guy turned out, and Devastator is awesome, and I'll brag even more, not brag, but celebrate the awesomeness of that Devastator even more in his review coming soon. So that is the review for MIXMASTER. If I had to rate him, I would give him an 8.5 out of 10. Think he is a pretty good figure overall. Not perfect, but I do quite enjoy the figure. So that is my review for MIXMASTER. Don't forget, never sacrifice the things you love for the approval of others. I will once again see you soon with the Devastator review, so stay tuned, and until then, roll out. Peace.